You wake up in the dark. Not bedroom dark, total swallowing black. You go to stretch and your knuckles crack against wood, 6 inches above your face. You reach to the sides, wood. You are lying in a box the exact size of your own body, and pressing down on the lid, right above your nose, is the entire weight of the world. Here's the part nobody tells you. You are not going to run out of air, not for hours. The thing that kills you is the air you are breathing right now, and the harder you fight, the faster it turns to poison. Welcome to the single worst place a human being can wake up. This is why it sucks to be buried alive. Let's set the scene, because the details are what get you. You're in a sealed coffin, 6 feet down. There are a few hundred liters of air in the box with you, and if you could lie there perfectly still, slow, shallow breaths, no movement at all, that oxygen could genuinely last you 4, 5, even 6 hours. That almost sounds survivable. It isn't. And here's the first cruel twist. Oxygen running out was never going to be the thing that killed you, because you are not going to lie still. Nobody lies still when they wake up in a coffin. So let's do this properly. Minute by minute, from the second your eyes open. Minute 1, panic. Not worry, not fear. Pure animal panic, the kind that switches your thinking brain off entirely. Your heart rate doubles, your breathing goes fast and ragged, and every one of those terrified breaths burns through oxygen 3 or 4 times quicker than a calm one, while pumping something far worse back out into the box. Minute 2, you claw. Instinct takes the wheel, and you push up on that lid with everything you have. It does not move. It isn't stuck. It's just that there is roughly a ton of soil sitting on top of it, and a human being cannot bench press the planet. So you scream, you hammer the wood, and screaming is the worst thing you can possibly do, because a scream is just fast breathing with sound bolted on, and you are pouring out the one resource keeping you alive. Now here's the science that makes being buried alive so specially horrible. You picture suffocation as slowly, gently running out of oxygen and drifting off to sleep. That is not what happens. Long before the oxygen runs low, the problem is what you keep adding to the air. Carbon dioxide. Every breath out fills the box with CO2, and in a sealed coffin, it has absolutely nowhere to go. It just builds, and your body is tuned, exquisitely and brutally, to panic at exactly this. That choking, gasping, clawing feeling of needing to breathe, that's not your body detecting low oxygen, it's your body detecting rising CO2. So the box slowly fills with your own exhaled breath, and your brain reads it as drowning, because you are drowning, just in air, on dry land, in a wooden box, in the dark. Your skull is splitting with a headache, and you're gulping like a fish on a riverbank. At 5, you're dizzy, sweating, confused. Push it past 10 and you get convulsions, then the blackout. And you get there fast, because every panic scream and every punch at the lid is a little factory manufacturing more of the exact gas that's killing you. So how long do you really get? A doctor once climbed into a sealed casket to test it, and reckoned that someone actively struggling to get out has about 60 minutes. 60. Down from 6 hours, purely because you couldn't hold still. And honestly, most of that hour, you won't be conscious for the worst of it. Because here's the one small mercy buried in all this horror. When the CO2 finally wins, it doesn't hurt. It makes you sleepy. You slide into a carbon dioxide coma, quietly, before your heart ever stops. Your body saves the screaming for the part where you're awake, and then switches the lights off. It's the being awake that's the nightmare. The end itself is almost gentle. Now what if the lid gives way? Good news, surely? No, behind that lid is not fresh air and freedom. It is 6 feet of packed, wet, heavy soil, and the instant a gap opens, it pours in. You cannot swim up through earth, you cannot dig, because there is nowhere to put what you dig. It floods your mouth, your throat, the box, and it packs tighter the more you thrash. A broken lid doesn't save you. It just changes what you suffocate on. But here's the twist you weren't expecting. People have survived this. In December 1968, a 20-year-old woman named Barbara Mackle was kidnapped and buried in a fiberglass box in a Georgia pine forest. She was down there for 83 hours, more than 3 days underground, and she walked out alive. The only difference between her and you is a single thing. Her box had an air pump, 2 tubes running up to the surface. With a supply of fresh air, being buried alive becomes survivable for days. Without it, you have minutes. The soil isn't the real killer, the dark isn't the killer. It's that airtight lid. And people used to be genuinely, sweatily terrified this would happen to them. With good reason. Before doctors could reliably tell death from a deep coma or certain poisonings, the occasional very much alive person really did get buried by mistake. The Victorians were so frightened of it, they invented the safety coffin. Coffins fitted with bells, flags, and breathing tubes, so a prematurely buried sleeper could ring for help from underground. Real patents, right into the 20th century. And no, before you comment it, that is not where the phrase "saved by the bell" comes from. That one's boxing. But the fear was real enough that people paid extra to be buried with an emergency exit. So let's recap your situation. 6 feet down. You cannot lift the lid, because the planet is sitting on it. You cannot dig out, because the earth just pours in. You cannot call for help, because nobody hears you through 6 feet of dirt. And every shout speeds up the poisoning. Your own breath is the murder weapon. Your own panic is the accelerant. And the one thing that could have saved you, a simple tube to the surface, is the one thing a coffin never comes with. Here's a cheerful note to leave you on. Statistically, you will almost certainly never be buried alive. Modern medicine is very good at making sure you're properly, thoroughly dead first. But now that you know exactly how it would go, the maths of the air, the CO2, the ton of soil, the way panic eats your clock, you are going to think about it every single time you drive past a graveyard. You're welcome. You woke up in the dark, 6 inches of wood above your face. The good news is, it's over fairly quickly. The bad news is you were awake for most of it. So next time your day feels like it's burying you alive, take some comfort. At least it isn't literal. What's Stick going to get stuck in next week? Subscribe and find out, if you last that long.